What's going on, ladies and gents? We are here because we have a main event announced for Misfits '07. KSI versus Joe Fournier. But before I get into my thoughts on this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It would help me out a whole bunch. And hit that like button. And leave a comment down below. Give me your initial thoughts on this fight. I would love to hear how the public is perceiving this fight. But I'm about to tell you guys how I am perceiving this fight initially. So, we pretty much all but knew that this was going to be the fight for a long time now. But I was kind of hoping that KSI chose Tyron Woodley or somebody else, because I hate the fact that Joe Fournier is only getting this fight because he is technically labeled a professional boxer. That professional boxer badge that these YouTube boxers are trying to achieve and put on their belt, like, oh, I beat a professional boxer. Like, the fans of influencer boxing, we don't really care about that. I mean, don't get me wrong, if JJ was gonna go out and beat Caleb Plant, okay, I'd lose my mind. But these guys he's 9-0, Joe Fournier. He's fought all bums. He hasn't had a professional fight in years. And it's just like, okay, I mean, what are you going to do after you beat him? Just parade around and say you beat a pro boxer? Let's get one thing straight. I have not watched that much footage on Joe Fournier, admittedly. I did see the video of him setting it up so he fake dropped his sparring partners, which was clearly a setup. And I saw a couple of his fights, a couple highlights and things of that nature. And to be honest with you guys, he is definitely no Tommy Fury. He's no Anderson Silva. He's very low level. I guess JJ is going to try to build him up throughout this build up to be some kind of scary monster, but he's really not. I'm not trying to hate on the guy too bad. I mean, I'm sure he has some skill. I'm sure he can compete at this level. He's definitely better than anybody JJ's fought since he returned to boxing. That being said, is he on the caliber of opponents that Jake Paul has been fighting? No, not really. I don't even know that he would beat Woodley. I mean, I think he may, because Woodley's is not very good at boxing at all. He's very stagnant. He doesn't really move much, so Joe's probably got the upper hand on Woodley. But other than that, I mean, I guess it's a cool fight. KSI is fighting, so that's always cool. KSI showed us some new wrinkles in his game last time he was in the ring. I was of the belief that temper was going to give him some issues. I really did think that. But KSI proved that he's far above the level that I thought he was at. And now it's up to him to prove that he's even more above that level than I now think he's at. So hopefully KSI can go out there, show some improvements on his defense, show some improvements on his entries, because he's explosive once he gets in range, but his entries in the range could use a little work. He needs to be a little bit more protected while he enters into range. That's going to be an issue if he ever fights Jake Paul, but he should be all right with these guys. Joe Fournier, he showed up at the Misfits event when KSI beat Temper, and they started building the fight right from there. KSI hadn't officially announced it until today. It's an interesting fight, I guess. I'm hoping that we get to see Deji on the co-main event. That'd be cool. I'm hearing Deji versus Swarmz is rumored. It looks like Deji's taking the path of trying to get a couple wins under his belt before stepping up in competition again. I think if Deji gets one more win, two more wins, I think the end of the year could set up for a big fight against Alex Wasabi again, which I would love to see. Or I guess a big fight in the eyes of name value with Bryce Hall, but I think that Deji absolutely smokes Bryce Hall, so there's really no intrigue to that from a competitive level. But I'm hoping that maybe if KSI is serious about fighting the Kingpin winner in August. Maybe Logan Paul will be on that card. I'm just trying to think about the things that are on the horizon for Misfits after this, because I do think that this main event is not what I'm itching for. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to crap on the main event. We already know how KSI deals with people that don't like his his way of doing business. So, I mean, it's underwhelming. If it was Woodley, I mean, yeah, you have the fact that Jake beat him, but he had 2 competitive fights with Jake, very competitive fights with Jake, and Woodley's somebody we've heard of. We know Woodley. We know how he fights. We know his accomplishments. We know he can sell a fight. Woodley's pretty good with pre-fight hype. Like, the pre-fight face-to-faces and press conferences and things that he did with Jake were great. Towards the end of his UFC tenure as the champion, like the last press conference he did with Kamaru Usman before he lost the belt was great. Woodley's witty, Woodley's quick, and Woodley has knockout power, devastating knockout power. So that would have been a funner fight for me. This is influencer boxing. Like, I don't need to see you fight a guy who's a 9-0 pro who never fought a damn soul in his life. I think one of the guys he fought was 1-11, and most of the other guys' records are very similar. Didn't he do like an exhibition with David Hay or something? I think I heard somebody say something like that. But yeah, relatively, this guy's unknown. Like, who is he? He's talking about fighting Logan Paul after KSI. Like, bro, who are you? Like, maybe after you beat KSI, you'll have some name value at that point, and maybe you can hang around Misfits after KSI knocks you out and build some name value like my boy Pineda, the greatest boxer to ever live. So, yeah, I just don't know about this one. Like, just give me the Jake fight. That's all I want. Just give me the Jake fight, or if you're not going to give me the Jake fight, give me some other good fights against people who I'd be interested in watching you fight. Joe Fournier just doesn't hit like that, guys. Like, what do you guys think? Am I wrong? Like, am I tripping? Do you guys want to see this fight? Like, are you guys clamoring for this fight? Because I'm not seeing the hype for it. And the thing is, like, every poll that KSI has posted or anybody else in the scene has posted, like, who do you want to see KSI fight next? Fournier's never won, like, the polls. Nobody cares about this dude, and JJ's got to be fighting him for a reason. JJ's got to know, like, I'm going to beat this dude. I can at least market him as being a credible win, and I can beat him, so I'm just going to take it. Because, Woodley, if I beat him, the reward is, oh, you beat a guy Jake already beat, and if he doesn't knock him out like Jake knocked him out, then there's really nothing to gain from that. And the risk is, oh, you lost to the guy Jake beat. So the risk is great, and the reward's not great. I understand where KSI is coming from. But, I mean, the Fournier thing, if you really look into it, like, JJ's going to market it to his fans, like, oh, I beat a 9-0 pro boxer, Jake lost to a pro boxer, yada, yada, yada. But the people who know. Like, there is nothing crazy about anything about beating Joe Fournier. Like, there's just not. He doesn't look very good. He kind of looks slow to me. Like, he's sandbagging. I don't know. But, yeah, guys, that's my initial thoughts on this fight. I will get down to a breakdown and a prediction as the fight is getting closer, probably 2 weeks out or 1 week out from the fight. I'll give you my prediction and breakdown. I'll also study some more footage from Joe Fournier so I exactly know what I'm dealing with, because right now I don't really have specifics on his fight style. I just know what I've seen, and I don't like what I see. KSI brought out a bit of a karate stance. You can tell he's heavily influenced by Michael Venom Page, who trains at the same gym as him. I think they had a side-by-side of, like, the same knockout, KSI's temper knockout and one of MVP's knockouts in Bellator. So it's interesting. That's a unique style, and, traditional boxing coaches aren't coaching their pupils to fight against that style. So KSI is bringing some sort of a surprise element into the ring, and we all know KSI can push forward and fight like a Mexican fighter if he needs to. He just needs to keep his hands up a little bit. But, hey, sometimes people fight with their hands on their sides. I know when I box, I like to fight with my hands on my sides. It makes you feel flowy, as long as you're not in range with your hands down. But, yeah, guys, that's my thoughts on the fight. And I just want to throw this side note in this video, because I was going to make a video about this, but the KSI news came out today, and I decided to go with the KSI news for a video. But Caleb Plant's fighting David Benavidez this weekend, and I'm fired up for that fight too. I'm not going to break it down. I'm not going to predict it, because it's It's a tough fight to predict. Just know I'm rocking with my boy Caleb Plant. I love the way Caleb Plant fights. I love the approach he brings to boxing. I love the mindset he brings to boxing. He's a gritty competitor, and I love that. And I want to see Caleb Plant get the W. So I'm rooting for Caleb Plant over here. Just know that. I will talk to you guys later. Subscribe.